What's up? Welcome to our first episode of Words from the Wolfpack. We got my boy GRGLY in here.
Hey guys.
How you been, man?
Living life, working, doing music, the usual.
Hell yeah. Been a little while since you've been to Knoxville. Glad to have you back.
Yeah, excited to be back. Stoked for a couple of shows this week too.
Yeah, we got our Wolfpack Wednesdays that we do at Brickyard. You and our boy Tan Leather are going to be there. And then we got Bernadette's that we do on the weekends. This will be released after that, but it's good to have y'all back, man.
Appreciate you. Glad to be here.
What you been up to?
Just really working on music and trying to stay grinding on all that and keep up with all my projects and everything. Focusing a lot on RSO as well recently.
Yeah, let's talk about that. You've got your own label going, and y'all are doing some big things. You've got some names on there now.
Yep. So started my own label roughly year and a half, 2 years ago now. And over the course of the past 8 months or so, I've kind of built a team that includes some very good friends, amazing artists to help me run everything. A lot of them are artists that are being managed by the label as well too. So we've branched out from more than just a label into artist management, booking agents. I have artist managers working under me and everything. And the team has come together amazingly. Like everything's been going swimmingly and have run into very few bumps. I've been surprised.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch. You know, we kind of first came together when you came out to the Werewolves Festival, and I was sent your links from our friend Allison. I'm pretty sure is the one who plugged us up. And it's been cool to see what RSO has developed to. And RSO is Recreational Space Odyssey. Y'all are just putting out fire stuff, man.
Yep, that's the goal. We're trying to put out I'm not going to say the most, but some of the best forward-thinking underground-based music that we could possibly create. That's the whole idea. We want to push the genre forward that we all love, and that's what we're here to do. So,
yeah, y'all are definitely doing that. You've got some serious talent, some great sound design and stuff. Every person I've listened to, whether it be in person, which, you know, we brought some of your artists on to some of the events we've done and kind of got to meet them fresh, you know, in the face, and they see what they were doing live, but then, you know, seeing more people join this team, and it's just all super talented.
Yep, I'm really excited for it, and I'm hoping to bring them to some more of the events that happen later in the year and everything, and get some of the friends from out west on there and everything now.
Yeah, definitely. I really enjoyed Galen, Ginseng, man. When he came out, that man's a monster.
Yeah, big shout out Ginseng. That man's sound design and everything with it, he is incredible, and glad to call him one of my best friends, and also the creative director for RSO now as well.
That's awesome. There's not too many people that I would advise to go out to Denver and make it, you know? Like, it's such a competitive market. It's a huge market, and if you can go out there and crush it, you know, the possibilities are endless.
Yep.
But, you know, you're not a small fish, but you're a fish in a really big pond. But
yeah.
Seems like he's doing pretty well out there.
He's doing really great, getting black box shows, and we just played a show at your mom's house together almost a month ago now, and
I saw
that went great. So
you sold it out, didn't you?
Yep.
That's pretty big, man.
It is.
So, what are your plans? I know you've got a few festivals coming up.
Yeah, so you'll be able to catch me first at the Family Function in Chattanooga later this year. The lineup is still to be announced for a large bit of it. It was released last year due to some COVID happenings. It had to get pushed back. And then you'll also be able to see me at the Astral Project as well. So I'm super excited for that one, and honored to be on a lineup filled with my literal heroes.
Yeah, I was super stoked to see you get on that one.
Yeah, being on the same lineup as Desert Dwellers, KLO, and 10-8, like all that. I was a little kid in the weeks leading up to that announcement. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah, that one's going to be huge. That's at Further Farms, correct?
Yeah, over in Nashville.
Cool. Are the, oh God, I just forgot their name, the production team.
Lucid Minds?
No, the ones that worked with us at May Pop, they did the sound. They've got the light blue speakers.
The Demon Herd.
Demon Herd, duh.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Demon Herd's going to be on production or not. I imagine they would be. They do a lot of the stuff at Further Farms.
Yeah,
so, yeah,
they're super solid guys.
Yeah, really enjoyed playing with them last time and getting to meet everyone. So.
Yeah. Cool, man. So you just released an EP. That was like this month, right?
No, that was the beginning of the year. I released that on January 1st.
Feels like it was yesterday.
Yeah, the year's flying by so quick.
You want to talk about some of those tracks?
Sure. So
I think it's your best work to date.
I personally also think it is my best work to date. I worked really hard on that EP, and those sounds have been a long time coming. I've been working really hard to find my niche and my sound. If you've been keeping up with me for the past year or so, you know I've experimented with a lot of different releases and a lot of different styles.
Definitely.
I've found one to really call my own in an area that I don't hear a lot of people doing, where I take a lot of influence from, you know, the squelchy side of Tipper while also taking like Integrate, Vector, and all them, their halftime style and all that, really blending it all together with hip hop drums and all that. It has really like become a style all of my own that I'm excited to continue to grow on. Those are some of my favorite tracks I've gotten to play with, and it has been amazing making that EP.
And it was a 4-song or 3-song?
3-song.
Three
yeah.
song. What were the track names? 'Cause I remember
Ethereal Planes,
that's
Idiomatic Geometry, and Drift in Time.
that Ethereal Planes track is some next level stuff.
I appreciate you. I was really excited making that one. That one actually started out as a D&B track randomly.
Okay.
Yeah. One day I'm going to play a VIP of it that's the original D&B version, and it sounds ridiculous.
That's tight, man. I know you like to dabble in that drum and bass a little bit.
Yep.
It's not like your forte, I would say, but like you throw it in there in a way that I appreciate. you
Yeah.
know?
So I know a lot of people don't necessarily like to have a whole drum and bass set. Personally, I would love one. I'll play 4 hours of drum and bass and be happy about it the whole time. But I like to throw it in there and really do it in a creative way so that everyone is able to enjoy and appreciate it. And I try to not make it too overwhelming or overpowering.
Yeah, I think that's why the people that have an issue with it, the problem is just it gets a little exhausting. You know, it's a very fast tempo, and I think I used to not care for it a whole lot, but I think it was because as a drummer, a lot of times I'm sitting there listening, I'm kind of like tapping on my legs or whatever, and then a drum and bass set, like I couldn't play a drum and bass set on drums for an hour.
Can't.
Like, you would burn so many calories.
Oh yeah,
and just
your
be
arms
dead.
would fall off by the time you get off the stage.
Yeah, so I love when it's tastefully thrown in there, and that's with anything, you know, whether it gets heavy or whatever. I like when there's ups and downs, and you know, you kind of lose the effect of certain things when they just become redundant, which is the same thing with like rhythm. A lot of people are like, I hate rhythm, and they're like, a lot of them don't actually hate rhythm. They just don't like an hour set of rhythm.
Yeah, I will die on the hill that if you don't like rhythm, you don't actually like dubstep.
Right?
Because rhythm is the exact same thing as like quote unquote deep dub and, you know, stuff like that. It is the exact same thing, just with higher pitch noises at a different. It's the same rhythm, same vibe to it, everything. So
yeah, as it goes in that the Raven Master track, everybody talking rhythm, but all it is dubstep.
Exactly.
You know, like that's some valid words from the great Boogie T himself. You know?
Yep.
So what about your writing process? What is your DAW? And DAW is a digital audio workstation. That's where producers go. There's also like Fruity Loops, Logic. Ableton seems to be kind of like the go-to for the EDM.
Yeah, I personally use Ableton. I started out in FL a few years ago, but switched to Ableton and have liked the workflow since, so I've been stuck in there. When it comes to writing process, there is no real process to it. I just kind of sit down and whatever I can get out onto a page, I try to make it from that. Like the second I sit down, I'm like, all right, let me immediately throw drums, chords, something into a track, and then play with it from there. And
get that bass layer.
Yep. And once I can create a bass layer, I can hear everything else that I want to happen from it. And I've gotten to a point now where I know how to create what I want to happen. So that's been the most exciting part of it, is getting there.
Yeah.
But
I dabbled in Ableton a little bit when I was in audio school, and that was probably the most overwhelming part of it to me. Was like, I have this sound in my head. How do I create it? You know, like I didn't want to just auto-generate samples that have already been used. I wanted to go in and actually create sounds that were mine. And Ableton is so limitless that it almost becomes overwhelming.
Oh, it is definitely overwhelming, and that's all of sound design in all actuality. Like getting into electronic music, that was probably the most overwhelming part of it. Was like, I come from hip hop production, where for a lot of it, I can just take random samples and everything and throw it together and make a track, and it's going to be amazing. EDM production, due to me being me, I have to create every single part of it, and that's as overwhelming as it could humanly be. So
definitely, I made a comparison one time because I think a lot of people have done that same switch. They kind of started with Fruity Loops and moved to Ableton, and Fruity Loops is a great software, but Ableton just opens a lot of doors. And I kind of made the analogy that Fruity Loops is kind of like your mom. If you're about to touch the oven, she would tell you not to.
Yeah.
And Ableton's like your dad that would be like, touch the fucking oven. Like, just do it, like it'll let you just do as you please.
I do got to say Fruity Loops is kind of just as limitless as Ableton playing in it.
Okay.
It's really just comes down to workflow at the end of the day and how you like to do stuff. But, some of the greatest producers work in FL. DMVU, for example, he's FL production. A lot of my friends use it. So I got to give FL its props on being just as limitless and amazing. But Ableton till I die, personally.
Yeah. So do you have like, I know you can kind of create like templates for your workflow. Like, do you have like some go-tos that kind of like when you create a project, I know I'm going to use this 6-band EQ and this on these channels?
Yeah, so I just have a basic template set up of mid-synths, sub, highs, effects and ambience, and then audio and vocals and stuff like that in there. And that's literally all I have. All those channels all have EQs and everything on them. And yeah, that's about it. I pretty much open up to a blank Ableton every time because I like not being stuck in doing one thing over and over again.
Yeah, and constantly having to go find those things, it's kind of like when you start learning short keys and you're like, oh, wow, this is saving so much time. And all of a sudden that thought that you have in your head, you can lay it down a lot faster before it kind of like drifts away while 100%. You're trying to like piece together this puzzle of what Ableton is.
100%.
So when do you build your own samples? How does creating some of these sounds actually function? Where do you start?
So a lot of it, I start with basic shapes. Sine waves, square waves, triangle waves. Just taking those and running them through as much audio processing as I can pretty much figure out what to do with it. 5 OTTs, 4 glue compressors, maxed out on it, saturator clipping. But yeah, that's pretty much where it's all comes down to is compression and post-processing with it. Lots of work in that area is really what creates a lot of the sounds that you're looking for. You don't need super advanced wave tables and to know advanced trig to be able to create them. You can take a most basic sine wave sub sound in the world and turn it into something absolutely crazy if you know all the post-processing for it. So
yeah, I've watched people just, and I have like one of those H6 Zoom recorders that I go and just record random sounds if I'm out in nature and I hear like birds chirping or whatever. But I've watched videos where, someone takes like a car exhaust of like a i8 or something and then turn that into like this crazy like wave. And it's got that like, whoa, like sound that they want, and somehow they turn it into this like
and that is all just compression, automation, and really pitch bending with all that, and that'll pretty much give you everything. And recording samples is a great way to add effects and ambience into a track as well. So
that's awesome.
Because you can take that same exhaust sound and not only use it for your main bass, you can also now use that for background ambience, run it through something and make chords out of it if you really wanted to. Like, you can create whole tracks from one sound if you try hard enough.
That's wild. That makes me think of, which I've heard actually multiple producers, but like when Ill Gates recorded fart samples and sold it to Microsoft as like a cell phone package.
Yeah.
But yeah, being able to just take a noise and by the time you process it and do things to it, it's not, you can't even recognize kind of where it came from sometimes.
Yep, that's kind of become one of my biggest things in producing too, honestly, is doing stuff like that. Producing and arranging a song is as fun as it can get too, but like there's just something really fun about sitting down in the studio and making nonsense noises for 3 hours just by yourself in a dark room. It's like, most people would probably think I'm insane doing that, but it's a great time.
Yeah, that's awesome. What are your favorite like go-to effects or I don't know what, like I know a lot of people use like Serum.
Yeah, so that would be like for a synth. My go-to synths are Vital and Operator. Those are my two most used ones of all time. When it comes to effects, Saturator, Glue Compressor, OTT.
So what makes those so special?
I just like using them, creating distortion through compression, distortion through overdrive with Saturator. Saturator's use of their wave shaper function can allow some really fun sounds to be created in that. That's it. Just really, you can take those three and create some amazing bass noises just with those.
That's awesome.
Yep.
So I know you are considering also moving to Denver.
I am. Yes.
What are you? I think you had some plans to finish something here, and then you were going to move out after that.
So I'm currently going to finish my lease, and then I'm debating what I'm going to do after that. Maybe go back home for a little bit, save up some money, and then head out there. But as of right now, I'm currently thinking about maybe just shooting it out there in July. So that'll be super exciting.
Nice. Now, you're from Boone and often play in the Asheville and other surrounding kind of North Carolina areas. That's kind of your stomping grounds. Yeah. What's that scene like?
So the Asheville scene is great. They have a lot of amazing artists coming through there constantly. I got to be lucky enough to be in close range with some really amazing artists from the Undergrowth, for example, like my buddy Mercury and Kirby.
Shout out to Mercury.
Yeah, both Kirby and Mercury. Kirby, man. Shouts out them. They're great. They've been friends really from like even before I started doing music. Have been like super cool to watch them grow and kind of are what inspired me to get into it in the first place anyway. And like seeing what Mercury did with the Undergrowth kind of made me want to start RSO as well. So
that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, so we had worked together before, but our buddy Tanler, who's going to be on the next episode, that was the first time we kind of all linked up collectively was when we had Mercury in this studio. Yep. It was during kind of the COVID times and we had to kind of limit our crowd. So I came to James, who's the owner of Promotion, and had this idea of like, let's use this studio as like a cool little space and do a live stream, but have a small studio audience that we can sell tickets to and kind of cover the expenses of bringing a VJ, bringing someone like Mercury, bringing a full lineup, and it went pretty freaking well.
It did go really well, honestly. It was a great set, too. It was a really fun and special set, too, for me because, like you said, Tan Leather came. I got to bring him out on stage for his first time to be able to, like, play, and it was really cool to get him, like, to show off to people, especially in that setting, because I knew he was a great producer and a great guy and could do it. He just needed that like little push. Yeah. And to be able to get that like in such an intimate setting, honestly, and still in front of like
it was a different vibe. It was something I had never personally really experienced like that intimate. And then have someone like Mercury kind of headline that thing. Yep. That was just a very, like you said, intimate set from everyone. And we had Jive on visuals, which is just always
killer.
Next level.
I'll never forget the visuals he did for of the Werewolves last year.
Man.
Still have this one clip of me playing the Feelmonger gas pedal remix.
Yeah.
And just have the spaceship, like I'm literally just sucked up in a portal on the projection map stage. And it makes me so happy looking at it every time.
That's one of my, when I'm showing people, that projector we got and like what it's capable of, that's one of my favorite videos to kind of show it off. And I'm like, you see that little dot there? That's the DJ. Like that's how massive of a projection this thing can do.
Yeah, no, that was a really large projection. I was really impressed with how well that went on that.
Yeah, so that projector used to be the Schmongeltron.
Really?
Yeah, I actually bought it off Zebler, who was Spangel's VJ. So,
wow.
Yeah, man, we went up there, and he's who got me into projection mapping, or at least knowing what it was. I had seen it on, some of those crazy videos where people do like the Coliseum in Europe or something, and they're doing all this crazy stuff. But as I dove deeper, he was the real kind of pioneer in my eyes of kind of like doing it for stage design and stuff like that. So to actually get his projector, I was like, man, this is literally a ball of energy you're like passing down to me that I can go and like literally spread light with, So, it's cool, man. Of the Werewolves, that was a really fun experience, and that's when you and me hit it off, was the first one. When you kind of came and I saw how hungry you were and your drive, and you just like, we had it was our first festival, and it was kind of just on a budget. So we had some things that were like, oh, we got to fix this. And you were just always like right there, just ready to go. Yep. And you kind of expressed to me you wanted to, you're already a DJ and producer, but you wanted to get more involved in like the back end of things, the sound engineering as live sound, which is kind of more my specialty. Yeah. The stage management, seeing how it all works. And now you're kind of my go-to, like you're one of the few people, probably other than my wife, that I would kind of pass the keys off to and be like, hey, I'm going to take a nap. Can you kind of run things for a little while? And, I don't know.
Except for the one time you tried to take a nap.
Yeah, that didn't really work out. But yeah, man, you've really like helped me through a lot of this growth that we're going through, and always been there to kind of, pick up the slack and stuff.
Yeah, so. I've always tried my hardest because it's something I want to be a part of and something I'm trying to build too. So, I mean, I've always said to all of my friends, we grow together. Exactly. So if it helps you grow, it helps me grow. We do it together, and I'm going to work my hardest towards anything that does that for all my people.
It's like that high tides raise all ships,
Exactly.
Like if everybody comes together, man, then it can actually flow pretty proper. I think the craziest thing we did, though, was right before the Werewolves at Possum Trot. It was about 2-3 weeks before, when Imagine canceled.
Yeah.
In a matter of about 24 hours, we put together a whole
planned an entire festival. Gave me the phone call and said, "Can you book it?" I went, done.
Yeah, and we just grabbed homies, grabbed whoever we could. We packed up the trailer, and Imagine said they were canceling, and I just saw a lot of people displaced in Atlanta, which isn't too far away, and we're just like, hey, come through. And that was almost as good of a turnout as the actual festival we had put a lot of time and effort into.
Yeah, really funny about that one too. When we initially got on the phone about throwing that, I was at the bar with my roommate Matt Novak, and my other buddy Riot. We're just sitting here having a couple beers and stuff. Get maybe 3 beers in, and I get the phone call. Next thing you know, me and Matt are running like headless chickens planning a festival. My buddy Ryan goes, wow, 3 beers and you plan a music festival. It's just one of the funniest moments ever to me.
It was. And something I remember about that phone call at Possum Trot, it's a very cool venue. It's like an old Western town. And I called the owner.
I know exactly where you're going.
Yeah, I called the owner and was like, hey, Kim, I know we're doing Of the Werewolves in about 3 weeks, but if we could throw something together, if I can use the property this weekend, like we have something big that we could put together real quick. She was like, yeah, the only thing is we've got this concert that's already there from like 7 to 10 on Saturday. And then on Saturday morning, we've got a gun show. And it was like old black powder gun show with like cannons or something. And I tell you about that. I'm like, so the only problem is on Saturday morning, there's going to be a black powder gun show with cannons. And you guys just both kind of lose.
No, the worst part was you didn't even say it was black powder gun show. You didn't get that in depth with it on the first call. We were literally just got told, yeah, the only issue is there's going to be cannons firing on Saturday morning. And then like you hung up the phone, and me and Matt I looked at Matt so confused in my living room. Like, he said there's going to be cannons? We just started dying. We had no idea what to make of that sentence.
I was here for it. I was like, man, whatever.
Yeah, it ended up being no cannons, just pouring rain.
Yeah, so that was such a crazy, interesting thing because it was the first time I had put an event together, and besides like the squad of us, we were kind of all looking around. We're like, who are all these people? Usually at my event, I know just about everybody.
Yeah,
they're
usually
all homies
of the werewolves festivals. It's everyone, either me or at a point, really.
Yeah, but that was good for us because this year a lot of those people I didn't expect them to come back. They were just there. They weren't going to come back 3 weeks later. But I think a lot of that crowd had a really good time. We had nothing but great feedback from it. And it was one of those moments that, you do it for the love and you just get like this different level of respect from that kind of an event than just doing your normal ones. People expect those normal things and respect what you're doing in that realm, but when you can just like piece it together on the
when you can throw something together like that for the culture, it automatically gets a bunch of love. And I mean, all those people that ended up coming there, we had people from, what did it end up being, 16, 18 different states?
18 different states, it was something crazy like that.
Yeah, and now I know they were all stoked on it and everyone had a great time, so hopefully that contributes to turnout at future ones.
I've got big plans for this one now that we've, we had that first one. We had Of the Wolves, and then that was in like September, and then we bounced back, and I was like, let's just run that again, but let's do a Halloween twist and make it Of the Werewolves. And that's when we brought the function ones out, and that was intense. That was amazing. But now that we've had
the cops shining lights in the function ones, trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, so that's a great story we should probably tell. On night 2, we had the cops show up, and I guess we didn't realize how. I don't think it was even loud. It was just that the functions can do those sub frequencies that just travel forever.
No, the ground was shaking beneath our feet on that one.
So they told us that they had been looking for where the source of this sound was for about 3 hours, and they couldn't find us until they came across one valley and they saw the lights, and then they came in. And I'm talking to him. I'm like, yo, I'm sorry. This is a brand new system. We didn't really know what it was capable of. And they're like, you guys realize you boys are rattling dentures in a town 6 miles away? And I was like, fuck yeah.
That's it. That's what I want to hear.
I was like, cool, man. I'm running sound. I appreciate it. He's like, nah, that's not it. But then we showed them the functions, and they loved it. They were like, this is cool. And Gypsy Coffee Lady knew them and gave them all the coffee they wanted. And they were actually really cool, and it went just fine. And it was fun because, we dialed it back a little bit because they were like, just kind of tone it down. And then Han Solo had a track that he was really wanting to flex on that function one. It was the last one of the night, and homeboy turned it all the way back up, and we kind of just went all out there to finish it up. But that's the beauty of Possum Trot now, is there's no sound ordinances. And you just like, you can't beat that with what we do. It doesn't matter how far into the woods you are or just out in the country. These sounds travel. And with bass music, it's so prevalent. It's not just like boom, boom. It's just like, just like you said, the ground was shaking.
Like you said, rattling dentures town 6 miles.
Man,
over.
I think that might go on the merch one day. Like rattling dentures since 2020. But yeah, man. So I've got some cool plans for this next one. Definitely gonna have you and the RSO boys back out, but now that it's got that momentum, everyone knows kind of like your first 2 or 3 festivals are going to take a loss, as things, you got to get the word out. But Possum Trot's a really cool venue because it has so much of the infrastructure already there. That's why we were able to do it in 24 hours, is like, you don't have to get the porta potties because there's plumbing. You don't have to bring in a stage line because there's already built stage. There's power. You don't have to run generators. You don't have to, and generators always run the risk of not being like clean power. And that's kind of, when you have these huge systems and all this money and gear, the last thing you want to do is put it up to not clean power. So, I don't know. That's such a cool venue, and the owner is such a sweet lady, and just I'll never forget her telling us, like, she was like, I think you guys saw my dream of this place. Like, she built it all herself, and she's like, you all saw it, but you even like showed me a new side of it.
Yeah,
and I thought that was really cool.
No, she was incredible. Kim, right?
Kim, yeah.
Yeah, shout out Kim.
Yeah, shout out Kim. She's amazing. Yeah, she was just sitting there watching the projector on her stage and just was so proud.
Yep.
It was cool to see her, because a lot of times you do these kind of things, and some of these venues, like, it's what they're in business for, but for some reason they don't like it.
Just kind of like dodge around that side of the business.
Yeah. So, I know you've got Astral Project. You were going to come to Livestock, but that was a date conflict. So I'm kind of bummed that you're not going to be there with us, but I'm super stoked for Astral Project. Any other big moves you're planning?
Just got a couple of shows coming up. I don't remember all their dates off the top of my head, but yeah, I'll be around. And
who's running the Chattanooga? Is that Soundwave? Or is that...
So that is a friend of mine, Allie Villagren. She set up cool. The family function. They did it in over quarantine and stuff as like an invite only, smaller festival type thing.
I remember that.
Yep. And then, so it went over really well for her first couple of them. This is the first one she's making open to the public, and they combined up with another festival that was going on there that I'm actually really stoked for, that was supposed to be a lot of female artists and kind of celebrate women in the scene and everything. So I'm really stoked that those two events are combining to make a full 3-day weekend out of that. And to have those same girls get to share the stage with some of the other amazing artists that are going to be on the lineup I was on as well.
Do you know who some of those female artists are?
Not off the top of my head. I don't remember their lineup very well, but I just know I saw them announce it last year and was like super stoked for it.
I'm pretty sure one that I saw, one or two, I think Zen Selected might be on it.
Maybe. I'm not 100% positive.
I saw her at Soundhaven, and she was amazing. I actually got to, I was doing artist transport there and got to give her a ride, and she was just a super cool chick. And then I had never heard of her, and I was like, I'll make sure to make your set. And then she kind of blew my mind. I was like, man, this girl's like lit.
Yeah, she's incredible.
I think my friend Shakti Sound might be on
I was about to say
well.
she's on that lineup, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, she came up here not too long ago and played Bernadette's. And
I saw that. I actually had the pleasure of meeting her last summer when I played in Nashville with the Bigfoot Electro crew.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to meet her and Boots and all like the Nashville scene and everything. So
that's
super
awesome.
Cool linking up with them out there.
Cool, man. Well, is there anything else, man, you want to touch on? Any shout-outs you want to give? Plug yourself up? Where can everyone find you?
You can find me Spotify, any GRGLY on Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud. All my social medias are at GRGLY Music. You also go make sure to follow RSO pages at Rec Space Odyssey on everything. We got a whole lot of really big fun stuff coming, and I'm excited for it. So yeah, shout out the whole RSO team. Shout out Tan Leather, Novak, Druid, Ginseng. I can keep
it's
going.
Growing, man.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, I do have a gift to you from our sponsors as well. I happen to know you've been wanting a pair of these for a minute.
I have.
So shout out to Eargasm
for
giving us a sponsorship, man. These are, in my opinion, I'm not just saying this because they sponsored us. I actually went to them because they are my favorite.
Yeah.
Man, the protection that they offer, but still having such good quality is just so amazing.
I'm super excited for it.
Yeah, and as a live sound engineer, I'm always in front of speakers and stuff, and I think my favorite feature is that they have the keychain.
Yep.
And they're just on my keys at all time. Like, oh, I don't have my keys on me, but so they're not on me right now. But yeah, dude, just always having it, and like a lot of times I don't always wear them. It's not always necessary, but anytime that I'm like, oh man, I wish I had my earplugs right now. It's just so nice to just reach in my pocket and it's just right there.
Yeah, I'm stoked to have a pair because I've been dumb the last few years and have not taken great care of my ears.
Yeah,
should not be standing in front of Function One stacks as much as I do without earplugs. But
yeah, that's
we've survived so far.
That's damage that you'll never get back, and it kind of happens. You don't really realize it's happening until it's too late.
Yep.
I actually, of the Werewolves, we were joking about now that I'm sponsored by Eargasm. We had some kids that were literally putting their heads in the subs, just like, and they were loving it. And I was like, man, I need to just go up and like give them a pair of Eargasms, but I don't want it to become a thing that's like, hey, at Of the Werewolves, if you go stick your head in the subs, JJ gives you a free pair of Eargasms.
Honestly, that kind of sounds like a pretty great deal.
That could be a good marketing.
You got to have a lot of commitment to really stick your head inside a subwoofer in the first place. So like,
it was wild. I was like, man, how are y'all like? That. I don't know. Maybe it's fun. Maybe it's not.
It might be spun out wook activity.
Cool, man. Well, it's always great to have you here. We're now going to cut to a little, probably 20-minute mix you're going to throw down for us. All originals.
Yep.
Hey, well, I'm excited for that, man. Once again, thanks for being a part of this. Thanks for being on episode 1, man.
Of course.
I'm really happy to kick this thing off with you.
Yep, I'm stoked to help kick it off. So.
All right, much love, fam.
Yep, have a good one.
like a fungus.